Sup, bitch. So, I designed another Celestials villain. This time his name is Night Shroud, and I know by the way that Night Shroud looks similar to Ghostface with his mask, but that wasn't really on purpose. I just thought of a cool mask for his design, and I came up with this, but then Ghostface just happens to have a very similar mask. Because these days, if you think of it like this, like there are so many ideas and franchises out there already, like how you would say The Simpsons has done an episode on everything. It's like I just couldn't really help it. I wanted a cool mask. This looked like a cool mask for the character, and I couldn't really think of anything else that would fit. So he just kind of looks like Ghostface. But maybe if you have some suggestions, leave it in the comments for the mask. So, Night Shroud over here, his attacks, right? So Night Shroud isn't really a normal character, as you can probably tell, because you can already see he's missing arms. But I'll explain this in a moment. Night Shroud, wait, how do I explain this? So he's kind of like a ghost character, as you can tell. And so he has like this big brown cloak that's a little bit like damaged and patched up. And then he has his wooden mask, and then here he has like a little ghost tail that's like black and dark coming out of his bottom, and then there's a little bit of shadow like here. So the way this would work is Night Shroud is a kind of a sneaky character, and by the way, he's like a darkness element character. So this is my first dark element character I'm showing, and like I said, he's a villain. And what he would mainly do is he would sneak up on you. He'd kind of like float around, and he's a little bit quiet. He's kind of like a competitor to Night Eye, because like how do you say this? In the way that Celestials would work, you would have villains and you would have heroes, right? So you have the criminals and heroes, and everyone has like their own specialty, their own like unique thing they do best. But say you would have someone like Night Eye. Well, this guy isn't too similar to Night Eye. But say you would have Night Eye, and then you would have Night Shroud, and he is also like a sneaky character and does things like similarly as Night Eye. Then it would be kind of like a competition in the sense that they would both be like they would both have the same expertise but on a different team. So I think that would be kind of cool. But this guy isn't all that similar to Night Eye, but he's definitely a sneaky character. He works a bit similar as well. So you can already see this like a ghost in a cloak with a mask. And what he would be able to do is sneak up on you kind of quietly. So pretty simple and basic explanation. And because he's like a ghost character and he's like a dark element, he has kind of like a bit of magic attached to him. So we'd be able to, I don't know how we would really visualize this, but you can see he's missing arms, right? Well, when he's floating around, he doesn't need arms, but he has two ways of attacking people. And the first one would be where he would magically, like you'd see, like if you look at my arm, right? Say my leg is like part of his cloak, right? You would magically see like a bump come up in the clothes, and then suddenly here, like where the hand is, the cloak would suddenly separate, and it would become like a separate arm with like a hand. So it would kind of like emerge from the cloak. You would see like a bump in the shape of an arm coming from the cloak, and then it would like lift up, and an entire arm would magically pop out. And the same thing would happen for the other arm. And the way his arms would look is it would look like, kind of like the rest of the cloak, but a little bit more leathery. And then he would also have wait, my arm isn't properly in the screen. He would also have shoulder pads, so he would have like dark brown shoulder pads. Then he would have black leather gloves, and he would also what else would he have? Just like here, you would have like this edge on the cap. He would have that on his arms as well as like on the sleeve, but probably in like darker brown. Pretty simple, pretty basic. And in one arm he would have a Buck 19 knife, which is also unfortunate because I'm pretty sure that's the same knife Ghostface uses. but I thought like he would use a knife for his first type of attacks, and I thought like it should be a knife with like a little bit of like a crooked edge, but like not too crooked, and that's how the Buck 19 knife looks, or if that's the correct name. But basically, the knife Ghostface has also happens to be the one this guy has because it looked cool. So it's really unfortunate, and now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure Night Shroud is also the name of Ghostface's power in Dead by Daylight. So if you have any suggestions to make this character a bit more different from him, leave them in the comments, because I find it a bit unfortunate that I like this design, but it just so happens to look like something that already exists. So he would have his Buck 90 knife, like I said, and he's kind of like a Night Eye in the same way that he doesn't really make noise, but he wouldn't be invisible. He would just kind of float behind trees and bushes and stuff to keep cover, and as long as he doesn't make noise, and you don't like look behind you, you would kind of not notice until it's too late. And so he would sneak up on you, and maybe to first tease you a little bit, he would start like giving you cuts in your arms and in your back with his knife, but not like really stabs, more just like slices, where you just start getting like open skin wounds. So we just kind of start cutting in your arms and in your back and stuff to tease you a little bit, and then what he would mainly do, his main attack. So the knife is just kind of like a secondary thing he can do. His main attack, and it's also kind of the reason why he looks so basic in character design compared to my other characters, is because the hood would come off. So the way this would work is, you can see he has like a little tail here, and you can tell he wouldn't use his arms much, because he's not nearly as much of like a human character. He wouldn't really move around like a human. He would kind of just float around and be like a ghostly character that occasionally pulls up his knife and then uses his main attack. So he would be able to lift the mask up, and then it would go like behind his hood, and then so you see here like the cap of the hood where his head goes would go off, and then it would like magically get so large, like as large as the rest of the hood. That sounds weird. Kind of like in those like those kids horror movies. You could kind of like imagine where he like takes the hood off, and the entire thing like this thing stretches out like with the rest of the hood, and then behind here on the tail it would like get smaller and smaller until you couldn't see the hood anymore, and it would just disappear, right? So he'd be able to take the hood off, and it would disappear in his tail, and then out of it you would emerge the rest of his ghost. So he would be fully revealed, and you'd be able to see his entire ghost form. And so the tail would just look the same, but you can imagine like here there's like a lot of space, and he would grow even bigger when he's out of the hood, and so he'd be like this big, dark, like shadowy cloud, and his face. So he's kind of like I said, he's just like a big, long cloud, but also like kind of like a head with a tail, kind of a big, dark, long cloud. And then it's a bit hard to explain because I didn't draw the ghost form. But his face would be pretty simple looking, right? So you have like, I only have one hand, so I can't really show this properly. So you can imagine like, I take a finger like this and then one like this. So it's kind of like crisscross. So you know, like an X, right? Like an X shape. So his eyes would kind of look like an X shape, and then his mouth would kind of look like the same mouth you would see on a jack-o'-lantern, where it's like jagged teeth like going up and stuff, and you'd see like a bunch of teeth. And the cloud itself would just be dark, like I said, but then the eyes and the teeth would be kind of like gray, like dark gray. And there would be this cool effect where it's kind of, think about, oh wait, oh sorry, I almost dropped my phone. Think about like how you'd have like those effects in animated shows where if someone like looks disturbed, you would see like their eyes kind of like jitter around. He would kind of have like that effect on his face, where his face would like kind of jitter around a little bit. It would like be a little bit alive. It would move a little bit, and so he would have like a crooked smile with a lot of teeth. And his main attack is that he would eat you. So, like I said, he doesn't really make much sound. So he would just quietly sneak up on you like a little cloud. Actually, like a pretty big cloud. But like I said, he would like stay behind cover, and then before you know it, he would be right behind you, like opening his big mouth. And then he would just start eating you. Sometimes in one munch. Sometimes he would like maybe bite off an arm aggressively and like spit it out in your face, or maybe he'd eat you up. But then like how do you say it? He wouldn't really swallow you, but like ruffle you around in his mouth and then spit you out against like a wall or like a tree. But most of the times he would just start eating your limbs or just eat you whole. So you can tell he's kind of like an aggressive, like sneak up character. And so he's pretty simple. That's about it. He just takes off his hood, sneaks up on you, and then like just starts eating you, biting off your arms, spitting you out against the wall. But most of the times he would just try to eat you in one. He would just try to eat you in one thing. So, like I said, he would also tease you by cutting you with a knife, and sometimes he wouldn't really sneak up on you with the hood off. Sometimes he would just kind of sneak up on you while he's still wearing everything. And then I thought it would be pretty funny if he would just stare at you menacingly because he doesn't really talk. And then with his tail, he would just put his mask up, and then he would put the hood off and just like stare at you and just bite your head off. Like it would be pretty cool. So pretty interesting dark element character if you ask me, and looks pretty simple, but still cool. Oh yeah, also, real quick, go to the link in the description to support me on Patreon. And for his backstory is pretty basic. The thing is, the criminals and the heroes in Celestials don't really have much conversations with each other. So most of the backstory for the criminals would be obvious because of their design and previous interactions. But this guy, Night Shroud, he would just kind of be unknown by the heroes. Like, they wouldn't really know where he came from, what the story is, or whatever. They would just know, like, this is one of the criminals in like the how do you say it? The criminal group that lives in secret. And hides everywhere, and they would just know, like, this is one of the criminals. He can sneak up on you as like a ghost, and he would eat you. But they wouldn't really know where he comes from, if he was ever a human, stuff like that. So it's kind of like an unknown character to the heroes. So pretty simple backstory. And then for his design, so you can tell. Let's just analyze it real quick. So you can just tell brown cloak with some extra accents, a patch, a wooden mask with like a crack in it, and then you have some depth. It's hard to pronounce. Some depth. No, I can't pronounce it. Like how you'd say there is something deep. Yeah, like that. So you can see if you look closely, there are like little holes in the mask because there is deepness in the mask, because I can't pronounce depth. Then here behind him, there's this black in the hood, which is kind of like also his ghost. Here you can see some shadow, his tail, some like patches of like loose cloak. That's like, yeah, you can see they're like patches. And by the way, when he would float around, his hood could sometimes get really big, because you have to imagine there's like a ghost in there, and sometimes it would just start bloating up. So now he already looks pretty bloated, but sometimes it would look even bigger, and then like under the hood, if you were to stand underneath him, you could kind of see the ghost. And like the tail and the rest of the body underneath. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty simple, but I really like this. And I'll probably make another Dark Element character later or something, but for now this is like the first one. I really liked him. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say. I hope you liked the video as much as I did, and see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.